Hey, what's up, guys? Jag from Jaggy Sports. I was gonna talk about something else, but maybe I'll talk about it this afternoon or maybe tomorrow. Who knows? Um, but I woke up this morning and I thought to myself, just check the phone, and all of a sudden I get these random messages, and it's just kind of like, okay, well, um, they're talking about James Harden. I've talked about James Harden in the past, a couple weeks ago, saying that Daryl Morey is gonna push hard for him, and now I'm hearing rumblings that he is seriously considering going to Philadelphia in the offseason as a free agent. Take a look at this. Sources explained to Jake Fisher that James Harden would welcome new scenery next season. Basically, Harden told several confidants that, including former teammates and coaches, that he's willing to explore different possibilities outside of Brooklyn. As February 10th trade deadline approaches, there's increased interest of James Harden testing the free agency, which he's never done before. Even though he's invested in competing for the title, that's not going to hold James back in testing free agency. Now, basically, he's told several people that he's basically frustrated with Kyrie's part-time playing status, and a recent injury to Kevin Durant doesn't really help the situation as well. But I think that the main thing is he's frustrated with Kyrie Irving. Now, his new city can also be an issue. According to multiple sources, Harden has not enjoyed playing in Brooklyn and living in Brooklyn. So there's no deal on the table, but everybody's got to remember that Daryl Morey can scoop James Harden up July 1st, and it just makes perfect sense that Daryl Morey wait to get a deal done on July 1st, or if he's eager, he would get a deal done before February 10th. My likely suspicion is that he gets a deal done free agency July 1st, that James Harden will be a Sixer. That's just my opinion, because, like I said, James Harden is increasingly frustrated with Kyrie Irving's playing status, and part-time player, whatever you want to call him. And James Harden has to carry the entire load the entire season, and I'm not sure if he's been injured or whatnot, but basically James Harden has been there 100% of the time, majority of it. And I think Kyrie Irving has only played like 3 games. So basically, at the end of the day, it's kind of like, okay, it's only a matter of time. James Harden is just biding his time until July 1st. With or without the title, James Harden will leave Brooklyn and become a Philadelphia 76er.
This is exactly what Philly should do, unless somebody blows you away with a great offer. Don't make a trade just to make a trade, just to get rid of a problem, because guess what? The worst of the Ben Simmons saga is over. I mean, of course, you never say never, but it looks like the worst of his is over. He's already shown up to practice and refused to go in and compete. He's already, told the team and publicly he's not mentally ready to play for the Sixers. So the worst of it has happened. You've already played half the season without him. You can sit it out. You can play it out the rest of the year unless you get a great deal. And Nick, I am beginning to think that James Harden to Philadelphia, like it could happen. Because if I'm James Harden, and when he didn't sign his contract extension earlier in the year, and he said, I'm just leaving my options open and all that. I thought he'll be back in Brooklyn. But if I'm James Harden and say it doesn't end well this year for Brooklyn, second round, conference finals, whatever, I got to look at it and say, KD got hurt again. Kyrie's still not vaccinated. And who knows when that New York law will change. This could play into next season where Kyrie's only playing part-time. So if I'm James Harden, I'm looking at Joel Embiid, who is just playing awesome. And I agree with you, Nick, MVP right now. I'm looking at him and saying, let me go there. We know he's got a good relationship with Daryl Morey, and they would be monsters. So, yeah, Daryl Morey should absolutely wait until the offseason, again, unless somebody blows him away with a deal. And I'll throw another thing at you, Nick. Damian Lillard. If you look at Portland.
Of course.
Portland's struggling 6 games under 500 with Chauncey Billups, right? And here's the thing. They clearly need a rebuild in Portland. Chauncey wants a defensive team, all that. And Anthony Simons, the young kid, right? Anthony Simons has averaged 25 and 7 assists over the last 10 games, and they're 7-3 without Damian Lillard. I'm not going to say expendable because he's not going to be Damian Lillard, but that is showing you let's build around Anthony Simons and maybe go get Ben Simmons and send Damian to Philadelphia. And then if you don't get it, Bradley Bill's out there. They're struggling. They're the 10th seed again in Washington. They need to move on. So a lot of options.
So here's the thing, Wilds. People are going to put this as, if you don't trade Ben this year, you're sacrificing a year of Joel's prime. And to a degree, that can be true. But here's what's also true. If you trade Ben Simmons for the wrong player or the wrong package, you might be sacrificing the rest of Joel Embiid's prime. Right?
Fair.
Like, I think Joel is the MVP. Right. I don't think he can win a one-man championship. I think Daryl will do a good job putting pieces around him. But this is... the Sixers are obviously not in an enviable position. But if the answer is, not give ourselves the best chance to win this year, but give ourselves an even greater chance to win the next 3 years, then obviously you walk through that door. Here's the other thing that no one has reported, but I know to be true. And you guys can say this is silly. I know this is true. Philly is still holding out hope that if the deadline passes and a trade is not made, that Ben will play at some point this year. Now, maybe he won't, but nobody, I think, thought Ben Simmons, and this part I don't know, but I'm speculating, I don't think Ben ever thought, I'm going to skip a year of basketball. I don't think Ben thought, I'm going to skip 10 games of basketball. I think Ben thought, I'm going to be traded in the offseason. And then he wasn't. And then it's like, okay, December 15th, the first chance when the whole league, when all those guys you signed this offseason are available, then I'll be traded. There's an element of the old cliche of I'll turn this car around and the kids keep acting up and they never stop acting up. If the dad actually does turn the car around, it's like, wait, we're really going home? Oh, okay, well then maybe I need to straighten up. There's an element of, like, who is going to blink? Now, I don't think Ben will show back up. But I don't think Philly looks at it as, if we don't make the trade, we are definitely getting nothing out of the Ben Simmons player or asset this year. So for all those reasons, and because Daryl Morey adores James Harden, I think there's a lot of incentive for them to wait.
Yeah, so I agree with you, but I want to dig into the Ben Simmons playing this year because I think that's fascinating. Broussard, I don't think that the Philly fans would be that, upset seeing Ben back on the floor. And I know there is a lot of like, oh, no, didn't you see the viral video of his jersey burning? And don't you remember they threw a snowball at Santa Claus? Like, throw all that in the garbage. Time heals, 1. 2, you are one solid, smartly engineered press conference away from getting everybody on your side.
Right.
That's all it takes. All Philadelphia cares about is winning basketball games. And if Ben Simmons came out And you would need professional PR people involved here. But if Ben Simmons came out with some sort of statement like this, you know what, guys? I was in a really bad headspace. I appreciate your patience. I let you down. But right now, I thought I was going to get traded. I'm not. I'm going to give 110%. I'm not going to be perfect, but I'm going to work my tail off to try to bring a championship to Philadelphia because that's what you deserve. People around the NBA would not be like, this guy. I think the tide has turned on Ben in a good way. I think, like, you know what? He was a sympathetic figure, handled a little funky, but I think we're past it. I think I would love to see Ben for Philadelphia. I would love to see Ben on the court for Ben's sake. And also, if Ben wants to get moved in the offseason, he's got to show that he can still play. This idea that he's going to be traded for Bradley Beal and the Wizards fan base is going to be like, I don't know, what are we getting here? I just hope that he gets back on the floor this year.
I like a lot of what you said, Wilds, and I agree. A great press conference where he said essentially what you said, yes, that would do it. But I was saying that at the beginning of the season. When he first showed back up to Philly, he could have done that press conference and been fine. So, and then you talked about he's got to get back on the court. I don't think he's going to play this year. I don't think he's getting traded by the deadline, and I don't think he's going to be on the court. But the problem with that is if I'm another team, and the Nets would have to agree to a sign and trade for James Harden to go to Philadelphia because they can't sign him outright. They don't have the cap room. If I'm another team looking at Ben Simmons, and I like Ben, I do have to question, this dude was willing to give up a year, smack dab in the middle of his prime, and he's got Joel Embiid as a teammate? Does he really love the game? You know, this guy, where is he at mentally? Last time I saw him on the court a year ago, he wouldn't shoot layups. So I think the more he stays away from playing, the more a team is going to have to wonder, what am I getting? Is he mentally damaged to the point where he's not going to be the player he used to be? So I think that's a real question mark that he's going to have to answer on the court.
So a couple quick things. One is, I think some of the audience might be like, why would the Nets help the Sixers get James Harden? This would only happen if after the year, Harden says, I'm leaving. And because Harden's a free agent after this year if he wants to be. So he could leave and the Nets get nothing, or it could be a sign and trade situation where I'm leaving either way. Yeah. You guys can get back a good player and a tradable asset potentially in Ben Simmons. That's first of all. Second point is, the other reason this report is interesting is if you are one of those teams that wants Ben Simmons and has not been presenting your best offer because you think, well, our offer, even if it's not our best offer, is the best Daryl is going to get, and now you're hearing Daryl might take no offers, well, then that is something to keep in mind as well. Keep in mind, Daryl could have traded for Kyle Lowry this past year and said, no, price too high. We'll stand pat as is when people thought he should do that. Last point is this, Jenna, and there's a little galaxy brain, and I'm not sure I totally believe it. However, has Russell Westbrook's struggle made Ben Simmons' style a little more palatable? What if Ben Simmons, instead 100%. Of the videos of him making jump shots, what if he posted videos of him looking like Russ shooting elbow jumpers? It's like, this is what you guys want? I can do this if you want it. Or I can play great defense and pass the ball like I always have been. Lakers are begging Russ not to shoot. I give you that stuff, but I also play great defense. I said it on the front end. I don't know if I believe that, but I've been thinking about it. Galaxy did that actually make the way Ben plays a little more acceptable?
So basically, what you have is James Harden, who's a free agent. Like, he has a player option of opting out and becoming a free agent July 1st, which he's never done before. He has not become a free agent. He, help people fly to different cities and whatnot kind of thing, or have agents come to them, teams come to them kind of thing, and they actually get to choose. He's never had that opportunity because, remember, he got drafted by OKC. Then he got traded to Houston, and I think about a year later he got extended, right? So he's never had that opportunity to travel and free agency and see what's going on. But there's a couple notes I am particularly thinking that he will join Philadelphia because he is not happy in Brooklyn. I know what you're saying. You're probably thinking, oh, it's just a rumor kind of thing. Well, you know what? There's always some truth to every rumor. Now, when Kyrie Irving wasn't playing and one of the media members talked to him and said, have you heard from Kyrie? Have you spoke from Kyrie? If Kevin Durant was asked this question, Kevin Durant said, yeah, we talk all the time, blah, blah, blah. James Harden was asked this question. He goes, no, I haven't. Said it with a straight face. So it just, I get the inclination that things are not as happy as they seem to be in Brooklyn. They're not. Even though he gets happy because he makes points and whatnot kind of thing. But you gotta admit that he's not happy because of the part-time player situation with Kyrie Irving. And having said that, it's kind of like if he's not happy and he's a free agent, he has a player option. He can deny that, even though people are thinking, oh, what the hell are you going to deny $44 million for, right? Well, people do that all the time because, they're going to deny that, become a player option, and then sign for a more extended deal. And we all know Daryl Morey can make mountains move, right? Like he's not afraid to take a big risk here and there kind of thing. So essentially what's going to happen is Daryl Morey is going to talk to him on July 1st, give him a couple days and say, listen, man, I'll trade Ben Simmons and clear some cap space so you can join this team and sign him to maybe like a 4-year deal, like at 44 million or 45 per year kind of thing. So I know what people are thinking. They're like, hey, why would you do a deal with the Nets? Why would the Nets do a deal with the Sixers trading Simmons to the Nets? Nobody's saying trade Simmons to the Nets. I'm talking about dumping him off or something like that, Simmons, or trading him for peanuts here and there kind of thing. I don't think they're gonna do that, but I just think that somehow the Sixers will deal with Ben Simmons and get rid of his contract. Most likely, Tobias Harris as well. And Daryl Morey is just gonna do what's best for his team because Sixers is playing unbelievable right now. And I got the funny feeling. That Sixers are gonna land James Harden in the offseason. And if I'm Sean Marks, the GM for Brooklyn Nets, I'd be worried because you just gave up a buttload to get James Harden, and now James Harden will walk, title or not. I just think that's gonna happen. I think that James Harden is sick of this whole Kyrie's part-time player situation. I just think that's the case. And, come July 1st, he's gone. Jag from Jaggy Sports.